Stories of Great Christians. From its radio studios in Chicago, the Moody Bible Institute greets its friends everywhere with Chapter 19 in the transcribed story of Florence Nightingale, the Lady with the Lamb. News went back to England that the gallant men who'd charged with the Light Brigade were all dead, and many had not died in battle. They had died of hunger and neglect. Even the horses of that famous charge had starved to death. Heroes of the battles of Alma and Inkerman were needlessly dying in army hospitals. A great wave of anger swept England. The public arose in protest against the criminal mismanagement in the War Department. A member of Parliament rose to forward a motion to look into the evils at Sebastopol. The motion was carried in an uproar. Since this meant that the whole government had been called in question, the Prime Minister resigned. An entirely new regime was to be established. Within a few days, the news reached Florence and the Bracebridges at Scutari.
That must have been a day. Wish I could have seen Mr. Roebuck when he stated his motion.
Well, it's high time they started looking into this stupid bungling that's been killing our men.
If they really want to, Mr. Bracebridge, they can find enough reasons why there are more men here in the hospitals than there are in camp.
Yes. I'm wondering how a change of government is going to affect us.
Palmerston's the new Prime Minister, you know. So I don't expect to be hurt by the change.
That's right. Palmerston's an old friend of yours, isn't he?
Yes, I've known him for years. Our families dined together.
Then the only thing that could possibly make a difference is the character of the man who takes a Sidney Herbert's place.
You're right about that. It's too bad Sidney has to go. But as part of the old setup, he's bound to be replaced.
Ah, what a pity he's out. He was doing all he could for the hospitals.
He was so devoted to the work. Well, I guess only time will tell the future War Department will be like. Salina, news!
Oh, well, I have some, too. Did you say that Van Muir's to be the new secretary for, Well, what does one say now? There's only one war secretary, isn't there?
They finally combined the two offices. Oh, I'm glad. There's been such a mix-up with two secretaries of war.
Yes. Oh, what sort of person is Van Muir?
From his letter, I'd say he's fine.
From his letter? Oh, you mean you've heard from him already?
Yes. He said Mr. Palmerston has recommended my work and suggested that he get in contact with me.
And he did?
Palmuir has a chance to do great things, Selina. I have 100 reforms in my mind to suggest to him.
So Sidney Herbert's being out won't make such a difference?
It doesn't look as though it will. I had a letter from Sidney, too, by the way.
Amazing. And what did he say?
He says he has no intention of retiring just because he's no longer in officially. He's going to push reforms in the War Department just the same.
Bless his heart.
And the best part for me is he wants to keep on getting my reports. Says he'll see that the Queen continues to get them, too.
Then the scramble in the government hasn't hurt you a bit, Flo.
No. And I hope and pray that it will mean a change for the better. For the army in particular, and the country in general. One afternoon, Orderly Stevens came into the office where I sat writing to ask about something.
Shall I take a special diet to the patient we were talking about this morning?
Which patient was it? I don't seem to recall. What does he have?
Cholera.
Oh, that particular kind that so many suffer from.
Yes, Asiatic cholera. But I think it's more like famine fever, like the starving Irish immigrants brought over after the potato famine.
I have my own name for it. I call it gowl fever.
We have more cases of it all the time.
I've noticed an increasing number of deaths from it every day. It's about to become an epidemic. You know, Stevens, I can't escape a certain ghastly suspicion. I believe this hospital does the men more harm than good.
Why, Miss Nightingale?
I know I should be the last one to say it. I've worked day and night for months to improve the conditions here, but I just can't...
And they are better. The wards are cleaner, there's wholesome food, the bedclothes and men's wear are
Still,
washed.
this huge ramshackle old place is hiding a secret way down underneath it. Men come here well and take sick in a few hours or within a day or two. Men come in with wounds and begin almost immediately to suffer from disease.
Well, that's a fact, and I can't deny it. We orderlies and nurses have noticed that some of the beds are always fatal. We pity any man who gets put in one of them.
You should have told me about that as soon as you begin to suspect it, Stevens.
Anybody gets put in one of those beds will die in a few days, regardless of what he might have when he comes in.
In which beds are those?
They're the beds beside the door of the lavatories. The smell is almost worst around about there, you know. And the fumes coming from the lavatories are strong enough to make you sick just walking by.
That confirms my suspicions.
What is it you suspect, Miss Nightingale?
This cholera epidemic is a result of having our hospital standing directly over huge uncovered cesspools of filth. There's been no attempt to clean out the sewers since we came here.
That would take engineers, wouldn't it?
You're right. We have to have engineers, sanitary engineers. And if an enraged plea for the very life of our army can move anyone to action, we're going to get them. To the Honourable Prime Minister. The commission to look into this must be sent out at once. It must be empowered to take immediate action on its own responsibility. Sanitary engineers who understand the basic principles of sewer disposal and purifying of water must head the expedition. To save our soldiers' lives, action is imperative. Please see to it that the commission sends all the necessary pipe, brick and mortar, and other necessary building materials ahead of it. Unless this epidemic is stopped, it's going to take the lives of most of the thousands now in the hospitals here.
Florence, you really must get some rest, dear.
Rest. I just saw a soldier go on to rest eternally with the Lord.
Another surgeon went this morning, too.
I know. That's 4 surgeons in 3 weeks, and no one to replace them.
You remember the purveyor, poor old Ward, who went a couple days ago? I heard this morning his wife died, too.
And when will someone be sent to do his work? It was enough of a job to kill any man. I guess since the epidemic struck, the officers just stopped trying to keep anything up.
And it's tragic the way the nurses have been affected.
You can't blame them for talking about it. 2 nurses have died already, and I have 2 more tucked away in a little house in town. One is going to pull through, I believe, but...
But what?
But I think she needs a lot of attention. I'm going over there right now and look after her. The fever's broken. I think she's beginning to feel a cold a little. Bring me a hot water bottle, please, Selina.
There's one right over here. I have water heating on the portable stove. I was sure you'd be asking for it.
Oh, you're a real help, dear.
Well, somebody needs to help, Flo. You're up night and day and writing till all hours after you leave the wards.
Be quiet when you come back.
Why? What is it? Here's the bottle. Oh, I see what it is. A rat. Way up there.
I'm going to knock it down from the rafters and kill it. I don't want it running here loose tonight. These miserable animals bite the patients and carry diseases.
But shouldn't I try to get someone
No,
else?
indeed, I'll manage. You'd be surprised how adept I've got at this.
You're going to hit him with the broom?
Of course. Look out now. Softly, and we can get it over without waking the patient. There. Don't be frightened, Selina. I'm going to strike while he's still stunned from the fall. There.
Oh, I can't look.
It's all right. He's dead.
Oh, Flo, you're so brave. I don't see how you can kill the nasty things.
Look, they help spread the epidemic. They run all over the hospital doing their evil work. And between them and everything else, the situation has got absolutely desperate. Oh, if only Sydney can do something. If only Ponmuir sends engineers to help us. At the end of February, Lord Ponmuir sent out a sanitary commission. It consisted of Dr. John Sutherland, Mr. Rawlinson, a civil engineer, and Dr. Gavin. They landed at Constantinople at the beginning of March and began work at once. Their discoveries, as Dr. John Sutherland reported them to me, were hair-raising.
Miss Nightingale, the whole building here is standing in a sea of decaying filth.
Well, I'm not surprised to hear that.
Oh, the sanitary defects of the hospital are murderous.
I've suspected as much.
Besides that, the walls are of porous plaster and soaked with filth.
And the sewers, how did you find them?
They never were adequate for a building the size of this one. Now they're choked up and overloaded.
And the water supply?
I imagine no one knows better than you how insufficient the water is for this place. It's contaminated, too, as you no doubt supposed.
It's a little wonder.
Then, of course, the courtyard and area neighboring on the hospital are filthy, too. Why, from the smell, I judge there must be carcasses of dead animals lying about.
Have you made any plans?
Yes, we'll have to clean out and enlarge the sewers. We'll change, enlarge, and clean up the water supply system. Then, with a clean courtyard and some lime in the walls, you should begin to live like humans again.
Dr. Sutherland, that's an answer to what I've been praying for the last 3 months. God bless you.
We've opened the water channel, Dr. Sutherland.
Which one?
The main one, where most of the hospital's water supply flows through.
Oh, yes. What did you find?
We've found the carcass of a dead horse lying right in the channel. Who knows how long it's been there?
Ghastly.
The men at work clearing out the whole system.
Good.
How are you getting on in here?
I've got a crew busy flushing and cleaning the sewers.
Yeah, they're getting on well, aren't they?
Pretty well. Going to send up a detail to pull out all of those wooden shelves round the sides of the walls.
Good idea. That must be where all those rats hide out.
I'm sure it is.
Well, keep up the good work. I'm getting back to the water system.
And with luck, by May we should make a real hospital out of this old death trap.
The effect of these efforts was instant. The high percentage of deaths declined steeply, and by the end of April it was down to less than 10%. The Commission's work was well done. It had saved the British Army.
And so we conclude Chapter 19 in the transcribed story of Florence Nightingale, The Lady with the Lamp. This is another in the series of Stories of Great Christians, which come to you from the radio studios of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.